Hi everyone. So, my standard that I have chosen for this is S.6.ESS.2, and that is to develop and use a model to describe the role of gravity in the motions within galaxies and the solar system. And this falls in the Earth and space category or domain, okay? I also wanted to read the clarification statement for everybody. The clarification statement stated, emphasis for the model is on gravity as the force that holds together the solar system and the Milky Way and controls orbital motions within them. Okay, so I have a a short 3-minute video for us to watch. It might be very simple to others, but it is just a refresher to kind of refresh our memory about gravity. So I'm gonna show you this 3-minute video real quick, okay?
If I told you that you just won the lottery, what would you do? If you're like me, you'd jump up and down and scream. And after you were done freaking out and jumping in the air, you'd land on your feet, right? But why would you land back on the ground instead of just floating off into space? It's because of a little something we call gravity. Gravity is what pulls everything toward the ground, including you. Without the force of gravity, there would be no life on Earth. Air, water, animals, everything would fly off into space. There'd be no you, no me, no French fries, nada. Think of gravity like the invisible superglue that holds our massive world together. You can't see it, but it's always there. An English scientist named Isaac Newton was the first person to seriously study gravity over 300 years ago. There's a famous story about him that you might have heard. Supposedly, Sir Isaac was hanging out underneath an apple tree thinking, probably partly napping, when an apple fell from the tree and conked him on the head. That's when Sir Isaac had an aha moment. Why did the apple fall down to the ground and not up or sideways? He realized that a special kind of force, which we now know as gravity, was acting on all of the objects on Earth, pulling them toward it. Once the apple became too heavy for its stem to hold it anymore, the gravitational pull of Earth brought the apple down onto Newton's noggin. Newton also realized it doesn't matter how heavy an object is either, whether you're holding an apple or a bowling ball or a feather. If you let go of it, that sucker's going down. We're gonna make a whole video about this later. Basically, he determined that what goes up must come down. Sir Isaac was a pretty smart dude. Okay, so you know that if you jump up, you'll eventually land back on the ground, and you know that an apple dropped down will land on the ground too. But what if you throw something in front of you, or to the left, or the right? To see how gravity will act, pick up the tennis ball or any small round object and hold it in your hand. Let's toss it in the air and watch it fall to the ground. No surprise here. Okay, now pick it up and hold it over your head. Let go and watch it fall once more. Again, not a shocker. Now throw it to your left. Ball down. Pitch it to the right and watch it go down again. No matter where you throw the ball, it's going down. So we've determined that near the surface of the Earth, where we all are, gravity is the cause that produces the effect of all unsupported objects falling down. The ball will go up or to the left or to the right for a little bit, but eventually it's going to be pulled back down to the ground no matter what. Gravity's got a hold on, well, everything.
Alrighty, so we see that this ball is motionless, just sitting here on the table, right? So what if I were to move the ball? I could move it, I could push the ball, I could pull the ball, pull it, or I could also tip this table for the ball to move, okay? So, if I were to tip this table, what is pulling on the ball as it drops? Gravity, right, okay? So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna watch me push this ball so that it falls off the table, okay? And we're gonna watch how it falls. Okay, so it fell straight to the ground, right? Okay, so now I'm I'm going to tip the table, does the ball the ball drop straight down to the ground just like when I just pushed it? Does it fall in the previous spot? So we're going to see. It's going to be a little bit harder to see since this is on video, but that's okay. You'll get the... So, as I tip the table a little bit farther, it slightly hit above that spot. Vader, it barely hit in front of that, okay? But the ball did the same thing as it dropped straight to the ground, right? Okay. And why might that do that? That is, went straight to the ground and it went a little bit slightly forward than the last spot. Well, that's because the ball is in motion in a path, and gravity curved the path towards the earth for the ball to drop. Okay. So what does this show us? What does this show us about how planets orbit the sun? Well, the planet is in a forward motion, but the path is curved by gravity, which is what causes it an orbit. Okay, so that is the little demonstration that I wanted to show you a little bit about gravity. Alrighty, so in the video we have learned that gravity is the force that attracts a body towards the center of the earth or any other physical body with mass. Okay, so gravity is like a magnet. It pulls objects together. Okay, in Earth we have gravity here. That's why we are standing on the ground. That is, like, for example, we have trees, our water, animals, buildings. They are on the ground, and that is because of gravity. If we didn't have gravity, we would all be everywhere floating. Like, it'd be crazy, right? So those things are being held on Earth by gravity. Okay. So, excuse me. The moon orbits the earth and the earth orbits the sun, okay? There are two scientific principles at work to create the orbit, which is called inertia and gravity. So inertia is the tendency of an object in motion to stay in motion, or an object that is at rest to stay in rest until a force is acted upon it, okay? So gravity, like I said, is pulling objects together. Our Earth is such a huge object that the gravitational force is so strong. It's got to be to keep all of us on the Earth, right? And all these buildings, animals, trees. I mean, it's got to be strong, okay? So inertia and gravitational pull are the two main causes that cause planets to orbit, okay? So, in the sun is also so huge, right? It has a strong gravitational pull because it's such a huge mass. So the sun's gravity keeps all the planets in orbit in our solar system, because without gravity, Earth would just fly into space, right? We would be floating everywhere, okay? So it also had mentioned Sir Isaac Newton in this video. Remember him, where he is the one who studied the moving objects, such as when he was sitting under that tree and the apple fell on his head, okay? He was like, well, how did that happen? So, he stated his first law, which is inertia, but also, in other words, a moving object can change speed or direction when a force is pushing or pulling on it, okay? Such as, the inertia, meaning an object that stays in motion will an object in motion will stay in motion, or an object at rest will stay in motion. Stay at rest. Goodness. Okay? So objects in space follow that same law and rule of physics, just as objects on Earth does, okay? Gravity influences the movement of objects in space. Many objects in space orbit around the sun or around planets. Orbits are the result of a perfect balance between the forward motion of a body in space, such as a planet or a moon, and the pull of gravity on it from another body in space, such as a larger planet or a star, okay? Our our entire solar system, our sun with its planets, moons, asteroids, and comets, orbits the center of the Milky Way galaxy. And the Milky Way galaxy is a barred spiral galaxy composed of at least 100 billion stars. Okay? So our solar system is in orbit around the galaxy. The planets are in orbit around the sun, and the moons are in orbit around their planets. Okay? Inertia and gravity are the two main reasons for the orbits. Okay? So that is important, that inertia and gravity. That's the whole reason for our orbits. Okay? So that is our little lesson about orbits, gravity, and inertia. Hope you enjoyed.